Yo, guys, what's up, and welcome back to the Marvelous Chats podcast. This is episode 94 of the cast. On tonight's cast, it's myself, Finto, and Zaberwolf, and we're going to be going over some of these insane Deadpool 3 leaks that came out during the week. Could potentially be a slight spoiler warning if these do turn out to be true, so maybe if you don't want to have the movie potentially ruined on you, maybe check back in later on this one. But yeah, we're going to go through some of the other news from the week as well. So without further ado, here we go. What's up, Broski?
Hey, what's going
How
on,
are you?
Pinto?
I'm
All
doing good,
right, how
man. How
you
are you?
doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Pretty good week. Weekend went too fast as always, but sure, what can you do?
Yeah,
Monday right around the corner again.
yeah, but I'm excited though, man. Before we get all into that, like, I don't know if you've been interested in any video games upcoming, but like Diablo 4 is on my list right now.
Never played a Diablo game in my life,
Oh,
so I
dude,
don't know. I saw, and I don't know how true this is. Maybe someone in the chat can confirm this for me, but I saw that there's a potential sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, and if that's true,
yeah,
is that true?
yeah, I believe that's already been established.
Wow. Well,
So I mean, we do have
that's very interesting.
like, I think some PlayStation stuff going on Wednesday.
Okay.
So you never
Cool.
know. I'd
Cool.
hear some stuff.
Yeah, I heard there's like a Last of Us, like a live game coming or something like that. Factions,
Mhm.
I think it's called Factions 2 or something. Um,
Oh, is it finally the multiplayer?
I believe so. Now, again, I
Oh
don't know
my
how true
god.
this is, but I saw that was coming, and then obviously the Spider-Man 2 and Wolverine games were kind of in this same kind of
Yeah.
release thing that I saw, but I knew about them obviously. But yeah,
Mhm.
I was shook by Ghost of Tsushima 2 because that game was fucking fantastic. First game was incredible. So
Yeah.
I hope they do a sequel to that, because like that on like proper PS5 graphics and like running really well, like optimized for the PS5, would just be glorious. Like I played it on a hardware accelerated version for the PS5, and like it was stunning, but like it was originally made for the PS4. So like a sequel would just be absolutely mind bending, I'd say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sad thing though is like that's still in the backlogs. I still have a lot of PlayStation games on the backlog.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath. Like I don't I don't suspect it to be out soon. Like, we've got Spider-Man 2 this year and Wolverine, I think, next year. So like even just the two of them, and I'll be held over, like
Dude,
I've completed Jedi Survivor, and I'm already onto my second playthrough of it. Like I'm doing a new game plus, so, and that's very unlike me. For anyone who knows me or who hangs out in my gaming stream, like it's usually once I complete a game, that's it. It goes to bed, and you never see it again. So the fact that I'm wanting to play that game again just should tell you everything you need to know.
yeah. And honestly, man, like I need to go back to Spider-Man 1 because it's just like it's so fantastic. And I know that I haven't played the updated version yet, but I haven't even played the DLC.
Man,
So like yeah.
I streamed the remaster of that on my Twitch, and like I got such like I got so many new people into the stream and all because of it. Like it was actually kind of crazy. Um and like it looks incredible. Like the remaster, I played it on the PS5. I haven't played it on PC. I couldn't justify myself again purchasing it on PC because I had bought I bought the Miles game, and then I think if you had the Miles game, you got the remaster for like $10 or something like that. So I ended up getting it very
Nice.
cheap. Like I wouldn't have paid full price for it again, even though it is an incredible game and I've played it like 3 times. But I'm thinking, ugh, like I'd love to play it I'd love to see it on the PC, but at the same time, I'm just like, I can't justify this. Like not for the same game. Like it's kind of like GTA 5. They keep re-releasing GTA 5, and I'm like, I'm not buying this again. Like,
Yeah.
you know, not
I mean,
happening.
dude, like it's funny. Like I double dip and sometimes triple dip. It just really
Yeah,
depends on what's going on. Like especially now that I have a Steam Deck, like I just want to pull
yeah.
everything on Steam. I just want to buy
That's
all.
That's fair enough.
Yeah,
That is fair enough.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to everyone who's in here at the chat at the start of the stream. Chilling's here, BB's here. Got
yeah.
some new people in
Appreciate
here
y'all
as well.
being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, let's just jump. Do you want to jump straight into it?
Sure. Yeah,
Can I
I know
can I
nothing about what's going on.
can I blow your mind?
Sure, blow my mind, buddy.
Oh man, I can't wait. Yeah, so comment in the chat. I guess you guys prefer Marvel over DC.
Uh, Not really. It's just it's more so that we have a lot more content to work with in terms of Marvel.
Yeah,
We don't necessarily like I don't follow DC as much as Finto. Finto is a really big reader of DC comics.
yeah,
When it comes to me, I will do my best to read up on any sort of lore that pertains to DC. But in terms of like, well, for my characters that I really appreciate, I would say, you know, Green Lantern is by far like one of my top favorites.
I love
And
Green
it's
Lantern.
yeah, I love Green Lantern. And the funniest thing about that is like my favorite Marvel character is Hulk. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is with green characters, but
You're loving my background right now.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I have about 10 long boxes full of DC comics sitting like right beside me over here.
Mhm.
Massive DC reader, and I love DC. I wish DC did better movies, and I think we could get there. I'm a massive fan of the DC films. I love the Snyderverse. I'm a massive DC fan. Love Green Arrow. He's probably my favorite superhero. I love the Flash. Um, you know, Batman is probably the most like Batman will be like the comic book I read the most because I find the Batman comics really dark and really interesting, and I
Mhm.
love all the Black Label stuff. And even there's like usually at any one time there's about 10 or like there could be 10 or 12 different Batman stories running at the same time, and like my comic book shop know me well enough to be like, oh, here's another Batman comic. Like, do you want this one as well? And I'm just like, yeah, go on, sure. Like a lot of them are just like little 6 or 12 issue runs, like, and I'm like, pile them on, let's read them all. And it's just like, fuck, like they're so good. They're so good, bro. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But yeah, it was like for me, I loved like the start of the CW shows, like Arrow and Flash, and loved Smallville as well. That like I think it was Green Arrow got me into kind of wanting to read comic books because there was a spin-off comic to the show which I wanted to pick up, and that's when I started collecting comic books. So like that was like back in like 2012. Uh, but yeah, fucking hell, love it, like absolutely love it.
Yeah, man.
So
And
actually massive DC fan here. But when we started the podcast, so little history lesson for anyone who wasn't here since the beginning. When we started the podcast, it was around the time that WandaVision finished, and one of the guys said to me, "Do we want to?" Like, would you like to do like a kind of chat about, or he didn't say the word chat because I came up with the name, but he was like, do you want to kind of jump on a call and like have a talk about the WandaVision show or whatever? And I was like, let's record it and do a podcast. I'd love to fucking get a podcast going. So then we ended up getting a podcast going. I came up with the name Marvelous Chats because we were having chats about all this stuff, and they were marvelous. But it doesn't pertain to just Marvel, because we do a lot of shit about Star Wars. We do a lot of shit about DC. So
yeah.
absolutely.
What was the original name?
It was always Marvelous Chats. Always. Yeah.
There was a little bit more to it, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. You mean like so what, again, as a joke, I said Marvelous Chats with Marvelous Chaps. Is that what you're talking about?
That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
the original. That was the original title, man.
I remember Hoffa made up like a little thing for it, but I always call it Marvelous Chats. I kind of said that as a joke, and he just made the thing around it. But
I mean, I'm still into us being called the Chaps.
yeah,
Like
yeah. Nothing wrong with that at all.
yeah.
So before I get into the leaks, just this is probably a pretty good question here. It's like, why do you think the Marvel shows have failed on Disney? It's hard to say. It is hard to say, because I think the Marvel shows, while I think it's because they're connected to a universe that's so strong cinematically, and especially was so strong coming up at the end of phase 3 with like Endgame and stuff like that. They were literally at the peak of cinema in my opinion. And I think what probably happened is when there was such a dip in quality, and like everything, production, CGI, everything dropped dramatically because they had to start, like, obviously, spreading out cost and spreading out budgets here, left and right, and all this sort of stuff. And then for some reason, they decided to stop connectivity. Like, the connective tissue just disappeared. Like we always spoke about, all the rumors that we heard, which are coming from pretty reliable sources. But, the fact that Doctor Strange shot scenes for the end of WandaVision, but they took it out because it's like, we don't want Benedict Cumberbatch to take the focus away from Wanda. And it's like, fuck that. You know what I mean? I think
Yeah,
that's what started pissing people off. And then, like,
definitely.
we definitely heard, I know, like, Chris Evans, for example, was on the set of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, I don't think he shot anything, but I'm really shocked that he didn't do something. You know what I mean? And I think if they were in a full kind of connective tissue mode, I really think that they would have just put a scene with him in it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And like it kept going on like that. Like, why wasn't Thor in Loki? You know what I mean? Like a variant of Thor. Chris Hemsworth comes in. I know he did a tiny little bit of vocal work, but like at the same time, if this was a Loki movie that came out in 2013, you fucking guaranteed that Chris Hemsworth would show up. So it seems like they kind of suppress the connective tissue to kind of try and focus on single storylines. But when you're doing that with characters who've been in the MCU and rubbing shoulders with the Avengers and so on for so long, it just felt so fucking weird to me. And I think that's probably a big reason to why it's not doing as well. A lot of people don't like the weekly releases as well. The episodes are too short. There's a long list. Like CGI just keeps getting worse and worse and worse as we go on. Some people, the normal fans, are also claiming that, like, it's superhero fatigue and there's too much content, and they're kind of just like, oh, we've had enough now. And that's kind of reflecting in the box office numbers. We can't use COVID as an excuse anymore to why a movie does 200 million in the box office. Like, that's not an excuse. Like, everyone's back out in the world, so you know what I mean? I know at the start it was touch and go with some releases because of, people were still kind of nervous to go out, but that's all over. You know what I mean? Like, there's no excuses anymore. So that's why I think it's kind of failed.
Well, and one of the biggest things about all of the characters that have been introduced in the show is that some of the writers don't know exactly how to write scenes, which to me is fucking insane. It's like when I was watching She-Hulk, one of the biggest things that I wanted from She-Hulk was the fact that she became a superhero. She was going to struggle with becoming a superhero because she had never been one. She didn't want to be one. It's always a forced condition because she was in the accident from the shows. And also the fact that she has to juggle like superhero ship with like her lawyerism. And it just seems like that's a win-win situation. Just like struggle there you go. Just keep it that simple.
Yeah.
But they wanted to go even further. The person, I can't remember the writer's name, but she desperately wanted to write her version of She-Hulk in a way where it was going to be about a woman and not about a hero.
Yeah.
And that's what really took it down, like downhill at that point. Because when you think about it, we're not watching these movies, we're not watching these shows to get a full on like, oh, this is Ally McBeal, or oh, this is it's like House or Grey's Anatomy, like all this dramatic shit. It's really all about like half action, half introspective. When you when you did Iron Man 1 was fantastic because there was a lot of action. You had Tony, you learned about Tony, you loved Tony, and then he gets blown up, and then he has to become Iron Man. And so there's his origin story. And it's so heartfelt because it's like, damn, this dude went through so much. He's so fucking smart. And I'm so glad that he got out of it. And now he's able to fight crime because he felt like all the technology that he had was being abused and used worldwide for destruction. When he realized that, he was like, I got to take down everything that's Stark related.
Yeah.
It's so important because he now has a reason. He has a purpose. He has a resolve. And so like it flows through. Like when Obadiah Stane becomes like Ironmonger, it's like it's still that same situation of like, I need to still be Iron Man and be better than these people so that even if the technology falls into the wrong hands, it's going to be okay. I'm gonna take him out. Like I will do whatever it takes. And perfect, 100%. Love the movie. Oh my god, so great. But then you look at She-Hulk and it's like, I'm a superhero. Now I have to juggle superhero ship and like lawyership. It's like, cool. All right. First
two episodes. Even do courtroom scenes, right?
Right. Like the first courtroom scene, that was fine because like someone Titania popped in.
Yeah.
And it was fine because it's like, okay, quick scene, quick punch, very 80s style because it had that music.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
It was cheesy, but like I was ready for it. I'm like, all right, I'm down for this cheesiness. Second episode, great, cool. Like she now is being hired as a lawyer for a team that works with like superheroes and villains.
Yeah.
Cool, that works. But as you go forward, it's like what she wanted, it like originally, like her individualism,
yeah,
started like dissipating slowly and slowly.
Yeah.
And you noticed it because then all of a sudden she's like, "Oh, I just want to be Jen. I just want people to recognize me as Jen. Also, I now want a relationship." What? You just told us that you didn't like you're an independent woman.
Yeah.
And that you wanted, like, you're going to do your own thing and that you can handle anger, no problem. And she showed it in the first episode. And then from then on, they shat all over it.
Yeah.
And I was so fucking frustrated.
It
I was
is. It
so
was.
upset.
It was such a letdown because I think the show had such incredible promise to be good. You know, the fact that like Ruffalo was going to be in it, and you know, we heard of Abomination and Wong and all this stuff. Like, and you know, it was lining up to be good, and then obviously Daredevil showing up as well. You're just like, how can the show fail? How can it fail? And then they just hit us like straight away with the fucking bullshit. And I was like, oh no, they're going woke with it, and I was so upset about it. It was just so annoying.
It was utterly destructive. And it blew my mind as much as they did for Abomination. Yeah, no, I've turned to a life of good now, and I'm just here to be basically a therapist to everyone, and to like, what are you doing to this character? Like, fuck off. Like, fuck, seriously, fuck right off. Like, get out of here, story writers. Get out of here. Like, you don't know how to write a superhero story. Get the fuck out.
Okay, so before I go into the juicy bits, I want to refer to this because I think it's a good point. First of all, it's like, would you like to see a Spider-Man live action TV show? Obviously, like Spider-Man's like my all-time fucking favorite superhero ever. Like, I've loved him since I was like 6 years old. Do I think that Tom Holland would do it in the MCU? I don't know. I don't see him doing like a TV show. Like, he's pretty much like a kind of he's like a blockbuster movie like actor at this stage. Like, I don't know if I see him doing TV. You know, like Chris Evans is kind of the same. Like, it's like, I'm not doing TV. I'm an actor. Like, I'm a movie star. You know, and I think Tom Holland is a movie star. So I would love to see it. We've kind of had these conversations plenty of times in previous episodes as well, like where it's like, and I think Hawkeye was one of the times where I was pulling my hair out. Like, I was like, how the fuck is Spider-Man not at this big fight scene at the end? Like, he lives around the corner. You know what I mean? He's got like a police radar, like a police radio in the apartment. Why is he not like just swinging by to see what the story is? Like, he knows Hawkeye personally. You know what I mean? It's like, maybe I'll give the dude who has no powers and just a bow and arrow, I'll give him a dig out. Like, here, there's a terrorist attack at like Rockefeller Center. Like, you know, I'm just like, what? It's like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And then like, change an actor, I don't want to see that. It's like not in the MCU. Would I like a Sony TV show that's not connected to the MCU? Fuck yeah, I'd love it. Like, Andrew Garfield, he does TV. Maybe Andrew Garfield gets like a six-part series about what happens to him after he goes back after No Way Home. That would be fucking fantastic. Maybe he gets the symbiote. You know, he gets his interaction with aliens and stuff. Like, that shit would be fire, bro. I would love that. But I don't know about Tom Holland. I think we need to stay focused on Tom Holland for a little bit. And I know Sony will have other plans, but within Marvel and the MCU, I don't think the MCU should go anywhere except for Tom right now. That's how I feel about it.
Honestly, man, like, in terms of a live action TV show, like, I get it. You want to stick with Tom, but then I don't know. In terms of a live action TV show, like, what they've had many attempts in the past, and I know that stuff's in the past. It's like 70s, 80s, 90s stuff where they've had different types of people trying to play as Spider-Man. It didn't seem to work as well, but now that we have all the CGI technology, which I know that a lot of people, like a handful of people, don't necessarily need a ton of it, but in terms of Spider-Man, you really do, because when you think about it, even though he has all this technology and it can be done with props and whatnot, it's a lot of work. A lot of work. So like, it's just a lot easier to give him the suit and to have him do the work through CG. But I honestly am getting a little exhausted with the TV shows. It's not so much a superhero fatigue. I really don't believe in that. I don't believe in the superhero fatigue. I believe in the TV fatigue. There's too many things to watch right now, and there's definitely not enough good television going around. You know, the last thing we had, which I thought was actually pretty good, was House of the Dragon. I appreciated that very much. I appreciated The Last of Us Part 1 very much. There were a few things that I had like ups and downs about, but like, that's because they were good.
Mhm.
When things are bad or they're getting worse, that's where the fatigue comes in, and that's not necessarily because of superheroes. It's just because of the writers. Yeah, it's definitely like exactly said in the comics. A lot of quantity, not a lot of quality. You
Yeah, and
really need.
I think they're rectifying that now. They've realized the mistake that they've made. You know, they went out with Phase 4 and they're like, let's put something on Disney Plus almost every week of the year, and it didn't work. Like, you know, and now they've stripped back. Like Feige has said it himself. You know, we're going back to the drawing board. The projects that we still have, we're kind of going to push them back. We're going to put a lot more focus into them, a lot more CGI work as well, because they know they've been getting a lot of grief, especially around She-Hulk and stuff. Like, yeah, like I think that they're slowing down now, which they need to do. But I think like, has the damage been done? I think that's an argument for maybe another episode of the podcast or something. I don't know.
Right.
Like, well, we could definitely talk about that further down the line, like in more depth. Um, it's a very interesting topic. Like, but I think there's a combination of stuff happening that I just think it's just all kind of bad timing. Like, you know, I feel sorry for Phase 4. I really do, because, you know, if you think about like WandaVision, for example, I wasn't a fan of the first 3 episodes, but the rest of the season was great. And then Falcon and the Winter Soldier I thought was pretty uneventful. And then you know, but all the real world shit that went on with that show, I kind of feel bad for that show, so I kind of give it a little bit of a pass. The fact that they had to go and completely change the script because the show was about a global pandemic, like, you know what I mean? They had to change it because they were like, shit, COVID's just dropped. You know,
Dude,
that's nobody's fault. Like, you know what I mean?
it's not, but they're a bunch of pussies for it. You know
They should have
why?
done it. They should have just gone ahead with it. I know.
Yeah,
I agree.
but
I agree.
do you know why? Because like, as much as I hate Resident Evil 6, guess what? Resident Evil 6 came out during the time like people had remembered. They're like, oh my god, there was a virus in Resident Evil 6 called the C virus, and it originated in China.
Yeah.
And so like, it's not like they could go like they're just like, oh well, shit, can't release this. Like, I know it's been like years before, but it's like the same thing with Kojima. Things have been predicted in the like almost predicted in the past.
Yeah.
You can't just go back and be like, well, we like shit. This kind of makes them look bad. Like, fuck you. Like, just throw it in. Just give
Yeah.
us like what you originally intended for it to be, and if it probably would have been better. Like, having to scramble to change things just because someone leaked your ending, it's such a fucking like, it's a cop out in my opinion. Like, it's such a
Yeah.
bad situation.
I
You know,
agree. I agree.
like, I was tired of hearing that, oh, Feige got angry because someone leaked the ending to one of the Guardians movies or Thor or something like that. And it's like, yeah, who cares? People leak things all the time. People leak things for like things like, Tears of the Kingdom. They leak the ending and it's not
Yeah.
even that great. Like, who cares? Just let it release. Like, if anybody really wants to look out and find those spoilers, they're gonna find them. It doesn't
Oh
matter.
yeah. It's easy. It's easy to
Yeah.
find spoilers. And speaking of spoilers, this is a perfect transition into what this podcast is about. We're going to be talking about the Deadpool 3 leaks that came out this week, or were kind of talked a lot about this week. Little warning for anybody who's just joining us. We're going to be talking about leaks that came out for Deadpool 3, which is out next year. These are like plot leaks, so, you know, if you don't want to hear them, maybe mute the stream for a little while. But yeah, so potential spoilers, because I think a lot of this stuff is actually going to happen. So just, you know, I
I'm
don't know.
I'm 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 excited and also worried.
Okay, I don't think you're going to be worried because it sounds incredible.
Okay.
So apparently there was a leak this week that was made very popular that actually came out maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, but it took real traction this week because a few people started making videos about it and stuff. So I'll read through it and see what you think, right? So strap in. So Deadpool is arrested by the TVA for time travel, which I think we can pretty much confirm is true anyway, because we know for a fact that Owen Wilson is in the film. Yeah, that's common. That's commonly known. So it would make sense that the TVA will be involved, and the fact that he's like time traveling around. And if you remember at the end of Deadpool 2, the amount of stuff that he changes is like actually incredible. Like he goes around and just he fucks up the timeline so much it's not even funny. Like so it only
but it
makes
was funny.
No, it's incredible.
It was 100%. He threw the butter knife at that guy and killed him.
Yeah, like he goes back and like gets like the Hitler baby and stuff, like, and
that was
just ridiculous. Like it's just so fucking stupid. Like, but like even like if he had just changed one thing, that would have been enough for him to probably get the TVA after him. But the fact that he like changed like 20 things, like he's going back.
He created so many like branches.
Like, so many branches. Like it's wild. So basically, yeah, he gets arrested by the TVA, and as like punishment for his crime, he's asked to travel to a timeline where Magneto, who is going to be played by Ian McKellen, has taken over the world. And this is kind of an homage to the Ultimatum comic run, which I haven't read, but from what I've heard about it, it sounds fucking epic. So it's set place during like the Ultimates timeline, which is where like Miles Morales and shit came into it. And it's just basically about him going on a wild one and just kind of snapping, and he goes as far as like reversing the poles on Earth, and he just goes around, takes over the world, basically becomes a big dictator, takes over the world. Kind of sounds like Superman in Injustice. Like he just kind of says, "Fuck this, I'm out." Like and just like takes over everything. So apparently, what he does is he'll take over the world. Deadpool is sent to this kind of timeline or universe or whatever, and it's his job to kind of rectify the issue, like probably try and kill Magneto or whatever. This version of Magneto is so strong that he actually has Thor's hammer and he's able to control it using his powers. So like he'll be sitting in his like chair and he's got Mjolnir sitting on the ground beside him, like. But I think like Mjolnir kind of nearly has a personality of his own, which kind of lines up with where Love and Thunder went, which I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that. I really hope that's not true. If anything in these leaks is false, I please hope that that's it. So apparently, one of the big, again, I'm not a massive Marvel Comics fan, as in I don't collect them too much. I collect some Spider-Man, a little bit of Deadpool, but I'm not a big Marvel reader, but I do know a lot of the epic stories, and I know X-Men versus the Avengers was a big one. And I think this movie's going to kind of play on that a little bit, because this version of Magneto has actually got some of the X-Men to kind of convert, and they're with him. And this version of Magneto as well has killed all of the Avengers, apparently. So like X-Men versus the Avengers has happened, and they've pretty much wiped everybody out. Now, what the leak says as well is that there's going to be a lot of kind of cameos in this movie. So I think we might see either glimpses or flashbacks of all of like the original Avengers getting wiped out from this timeline. So whether this is like 838 or not, it doesn't specify. It would kind of make sense that it was, though, because we know the X-Men are prevalent there.
I'd rather it not be 838.
I know. But basically, whatever world this is, whatever universe this is that he goes into, this is where he meets Hugh Jackman. So this is the version of Wolverine that he's going to meet. And basically, the two of the guys, they team up and they end up literally wiping out this entire universe. That's the kind of plot. So this version of Wolverine and Deadpool come together, work together, and just wipe everyone out. So they they basically kill the Fox universe. So it's kind of like that comic run, Deadpool kills the Marvel universe.
Mm-hmm.
But it's basically Deadpool kills the Fox universe. And I think we've been talking about this before as well. Like, it's kind of obvious, I suppose, but they're saying that this is in the plot leak. So
okay,
that was kind of the guts of the first leak. That came out maybe 2 weeks ago, but is only kind of during the week this week kind of really kind of hit the mainstream. But what do you think? What do you think? Like, if that was Deadpool 3, would you be hyped to go see? Like, what do you think? Like, where would that kind of sit in your MCU movies? Like, to me, 10 out of 10, bro. It sounds fucking wild. It sounds insane.
Considering that Deadpool 1 and 2 have been very like silly, not exactly completely serious, I don't know if I really would be for it. Only for the fact that like this sounds very serious. I love Deadpool. I would love for it to be silly, like quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
It just really depends on what direction they go. If they're like full on like, oh, we're gonna keep this serious, that'll be interesting. If they're doing like serious and like silly, it just really depends on the balance. If it's half and half, that's fantastic, but it's really fucking difficult to do that half and half, because killing, like becoming a dictator, is some serious shit. That's like some really interesting shit that's going on.
Yeah.
And to have killed so many people in order to become that dictator, that seems to be a very wide situation, where if we see any humans that are still alive that are working for Magneto, I will
Yeah.
hate that, because Magneto absolutely hates humans.
Yeah.
Like he hates the, Homo sapiens. He believes in Homo superior. So like
But would
it
he?
wouldn't make sense to do so.
And I don't think he's evil enough to capture them and kind of have them as like slaves, because that's what happened to his people, and I don't think he's that evil
Right.
that he would actually do that. So I'd
He would
say
just,
he just
yeah,
kill them, get them,
yeah,
put them out of their misery, sort of thing.
100% wipe
Yeah,
them out.
yeah,
So in that sense, the best way to do this is to make sure that every single encounter that they have between like Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be nothing but mutants. And I don't
yeah,
care if it's the silliest shit ever that these mutants have, like in terms of their powers. I
yeah.
want to see everything. I want
Yeah.
to see a dude who has like exploding like metal bubbles for some reason. I want a dude like shooting, that one guy who shot like bones out of his body to like attack
Oh, yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
I want I want a woman who like can, kind of similar to Shadowcat, but like can also move the ground with her or something.
Mm,
I want like some crazy shit,
yeah,
because then that would like create chaos, and that would make this world so much more like interactive. And it
yeah,
would be so fucking fantastic to have all that, because then it's like, holy shit, Magneto really like put these humans in hiding. There's no one left. There's just all mutants. And
facts.
it's like the fucking craziest shit ever. And then you like for any of the surviving X-Men that sided with him, that's going to be interesting,
Mhm.
because then we'll have a conversation. We'll see like I can't remember the word. We'll see what happened in the past
Yeah,
in that sense.
yeah,
But I don't want to go into like flashbacks. I want to do just all main shit, just them mentioning things and being
yeah,
like, "Oh shit, this is from such and such," or it could be like, "Oh shit, this place is completely different. This is not the Fox universe. This is just a completely different universe."
yeah.
You know, it,
I'd like to see. Obviously, if we're gonna have a version of Magneto who has like taken over the planet, like we can't. I don't think we can just step into that world and just go about like and do a current mission and then fuck off. I think we need to kind of see how he came into power. Like I want to see him like wiping people out, and I want to see him wiping the Avengers out and stuff like that. So I think that'd be kind of cool. And if they can get some of like the original Avengers back and have them be in different variants of themselves, I think that would be fucking sweet as well to see. Like imagine like different versions of like Tony Stark and different versions of Steve Rogers. They might like they don't even need to be the same actors. You know what I mean? This could be a great chance to kind of throw Tom Cruise in there for Tony Stark and get a different Steve Rogers and stuff like that. Like have like I don't know, like
yeah,
Chris Pratt or something as Captain America or something, like what I mean, like or even like John Krasinski. Those two guys were up for the running of Captain America at the time, or Jensen Ackles as Captain America would be fucking incredible because I know he was in the running for it as well. So like I think
mhm.
it's in situations like that, I think that's where you do some cool stuff with kind of fan castings and stuff like that. So I love that. And I think chilling what he's saying here is right as well. I think especially with Reynolds and Hugh Jackman working together, like the chemistry is going to be through the roof, and I think that they'll be able to do a real nice blend of serious and comedic at the same time. Like I think the two of them will work so well together. Like for the two of them, like with how close we know that they are in real life, I don't even think they're going to be acting in this film. Like I think it's just going to be them being them, and like they kind of just are. They just are themselves.
Yeah. I guess like excuse me, Jesus. I'm like from what Chillin has said, he's not a flashback. He's not a fan of flashback by exposition. I agree. I think flashbacks are very like cheap. They're very like non like it's just not blending. It just doesn't blend well. I think at the very least, like if you were to do any sort of semblance of flashback, it would have to be something that the TVA has recorded. Something small, something that they can have on the side to kind of show Deadpool like, oh shit, this is going on.
Yeah, it's
Like
kind of like what they did in Loki when they kind of showed him his future or whatever, and they showed him all the shit on the monitors. I think they do that. Like, this is the dude you're going to be fighting, and you see him like wiping out the Avengers and all that sort of thing. I think that's definitely the way you do it. I would agree as well. Like, I think flashbacks are kind of a cheap way of telling story if you're in that's it, like a certain situation. But I think if you're like jumping into a new universe, I think we need a bit of backstory. You know what I mean?
Nope. I don't give a fuck. I want
I think
here and now. I want here and now, bro. I want them to jump right in and be like, hey, let's get going, and then get moving forward, and then that's it. Like, the movie's gonna go like straight in, all gas, no brakes, buddy. That's it. That's all I want. That's all I want. Like, I'm tired of like looking back in the past and being like, oh yeah, I remember all that stuff. Like, I'd rather have mentions. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'd rather have mentions of things that have happened in the past. I'd rather have mentions of things that have never happened in any of the timelines that we've heard before, because that would be fucking mind blowing. It's like, oh shit, this isn't the same universe. Exactly. Andre said it's, I need Deadpool to be Deadpool. Just fucking go. Just keep go. Like, who gives, like, Deadpool doesn't care.
100%.
You think Deadpool cares about like the mission? He cares about like fucking shit up.
Amen.
Exactly.
Facts. Right, I'll read the second leak and then see what you think. So this one, there's a couple of weird things about the second leak. Like, the second leak refers to the first leak, which kind of makes me think that maybe the second leak isn't real, or some parts of it aren't real anyway, because it seems like maybe they're trying to like counter some of the first parts to maybe throw people off, or
is it like a tack on? Like, it's kind of pulling parts from the first leak?
Kind of, but then they kind of make references to the first leak and be like, this is wrong, this isn't going to happen, and like, that's not usually how leaks work. They don't usually do that. Like, so I would wonder if like maybe after the first leak came out and maybe like Feige and Disney got like wind of it and they were like, shit, like, this is the plot for the first film, let's put out our own one and make it kind of different or something. So I don't know, like, take it as you will, but it seems like it's a bit strange. But in both versions of the leaks, it seems that Ian McKellen's Magneto takes over the planet, and that they're kind of going to very heavily reference this comic run Ultimatum, which sounds great. I think it sounds good. Apparently in this version there will be like different variants of like X-Men that we know and love, that by the end of the film will make their way to the 616, and then being in the 616 will then give them the ability to be part of Secret Wars. So I don't know what the leak didn't say who these variants of different X-Men are going to be. Probably like, I presume they're referring to like maybe Wolverine, Deadpool. They might be referring to like Cyclops or something like that. Like, all the big guys, but maybe different actors playing them or something like that, because they're different variants. And then it's like these versions will come to the 616 and then in part then go on to like Kang Dynasty and so on. And then that's how they have those characters available for Battleworld. This one says that Deadpool will actually recruit Charles and Eric, so Magneto and Professor X, to work with him to clean up the universe. So whether it's a different version of Ian McKellen's character to then potentially fight this evil version of him, sounds interesting. I don't know if they'll do that. I was watching a video that the Den of Nerds put out on this second leak, and he makes a good point where it's like, if you start bringing in Sir Patrick Stewart and you have him alongside Magneto, it kind of becomes an X-Men movie. It's not really Deadpool then, like, you know what I mean? I think something like that might take the focus off Deadpool a little too much. Like, I think the movie is being reported on and about being like a Deadpool movie and a Wolverine film. Like, it's Deadpool and Wolverine.
Right. But then it kind of hits that same pin of like, oh, we don't want Doctor Strange in WandaVision because we think it'll ruin it and become a Doctor Strange show.
This is what Marvel does, like, so that sounds like it's true to me.
Yeah, which is fucking like, it's just not like, it's not necessary, man. Like, we want this connection. We want these things to be, if that's their vision and they're like, no, we can't like turn this Deadpool movie into an X-Men movie. What are you talking about? Like, Deadpool's a mutant. Like, if you're gonna, it's literally Deadpool, but like in parentheses X-Men. Like it's literally
Oh yeah,
a mutant. Like
I
who
agree.
cares? Who
I agree.
cares?
I agree. But Disney do weird shit right now, so
Yeah.
that wouldn't surprise me. Um, yeah. So then apparently there's I don't know if you've heard of I haven't heard of these characters, but in the leak it says as well that there's going to be like the main kind of villains of this version of the movie is going to be Mojo and Spiral. I don't know. I haven't heard of them before.
And I vaguely remember them. Like they're not like big people, so
Yeah.
it's hard to it really is hard to remember a lot of
Mhm.
the things. One thing you have to remember about Marvel versus DC in terms of like like literally quantity over quality kind of situation. So Marvel has quality, but compared to DC, like Marvel is gigantic. Like it's fucking huge. Like I remember like reading up on this, and DC has about maybe 10,000 characters in their entire comic series and
Mhm.
movies and whatnot. Marvel has 70K. Like
Wow.
there's no matching it. Like there's
Oh,
like
like if you
everyone's a character.
yeah, pick one hero like Daredevil or something, for example, and it's like the amount of like villains and just like B, C, D, E class like villains that they're going against. Like there's just so many. Like just pick
Mhm.
one fucking person. Like it's insane. Um, a comment in the chat there just talking about Ian McKellen. Maybe he's too old. I don't know. Like, look at Harrison Ford. He's riding on horses in 1923 right now, and he's a fucking badass. Like, you know what I mean? And he's in his 80s, and he's doing more work now than he has done over the last 10 years combined. So, I don't know. Like, you know, and with de aging and stunt doubles and all this sort of shit now, like with technology, they could have Ian McKellen looking like he did in X1 back in 1999 for this film if they wanted, and they could probably do it very well. You know, so you know, Ian
I
McKellen
mean, it's not
has
that
said he's going to come back as well. So you know, and the fact that they had like Sir Patrick in Logan and everything, like I really think that it is very likely that he is going to come back. Like I wouldn't see it not happening at this stage.
right. I mean, like when I think about it though, I when I think about Sir Ian McKellen and Sir Patrick Stewart, like even though they are of old age, have they really been aging at all? Like I swear they look the same.
Yeah, yeah, I think like McKellen still looks like Gandalf, like you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't think he's changed that much. Like, I definitely have noticed watching, and I'm not a Star Trek fan. My girlfriend is a massive Star Trek fan, but even kind of jumping in and out of little bits of Picard, like you can tell that Patrick Stewart is old as fuck. Like you can, he looks very old in the show, but even still in the show, like he's walking around, he's doing loads of shit. Like you know, you can tell he's quite active, and he's in his 80s. Do you
Mhm.
know what I mean? My grandparents weren't active in their 80s at all. Like, you know, so it's I say fair play to them. I think, you know, and Harrison Ford blows my mind. The shit that he's doing. He do like because if you're big into like Yellowstone and 1883 and 1923, if anyone watches those shows, like Harrison Ford was in the entirety of the first season of 1923, and he's going to be in season 2 apparently. And the dude's rocking around Montana on the back of a horse, like, and he's like 82 or something. Like, it's wild. It's wild, man.
That
Wild.
sounds fun though. Like you know,
Yeah, fair play to him.
as long as he's happy and
He
he's
loves
willing
it.
to do the role,
I've
by
watched
all
like some
means.
interviews with him. He fucking loves it. And like even if you think back to like episode 7, like he broke his ankle on the Millennium Falcon. Like that was like I think that was filmed nearly 10 years ago at this stage, and he's still going. You know, so
Mhm.
fair play to him. Yeah,
Mm.
I don't know. So to finish off the second league, and then we'll kind of maybe compare them or whatever, or see what we like
Sure.
out of both. So apparently, towards the end of the film, there's going to be another kind of Wolverine versus Wolverine fight, kind of like what they did in Logan. Um, and then this movie, apparently, this version of it says that the movie will end with an incursion, which I had heard before. It'll end with an incursion, and everyone dies in that universe, and you know the mutants that can regenerate or whatever they survive. So Deadpool, Wolverine, all that sort of thing, and they end up being in the 616, getting ready for Secret Wars by the end, along with some of the X-Men who, you know, potentially aren't the X-Men from Fox that we know, but they're different versions that will be available to be in Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty and stuff like that.
I mean,
What do you think?
that's that seems plausible.
Yeah.
Being able to destroy the entire universe and then having some of the remaining characters be pulled would be a great idea because then like they have nothing else to do, and I would say just have a Beyonder be like, oh, this planet's fucked, but there's some people that are still alive. They might be good as candidates for Battle World.
Yeah.
And then just pull them. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a simple open and shut case at that point.
Absolutely.
The situation with like Wolverine versus Wolverine again, I kind of don't want that. Like it just seems very it's a cop out again. Like it's just you've done this before, man. Like we don't need a rehash. Like we got to stop doing this like repeats cuz like then you're telling us that you don't have any other ideas.
Yeah, I agree, but at the same time, like apparently the version that we're going to meet, like, so the Wolverine that we're following around, who will be the new kind of MCU Wolverine or whatever they're doing, I think he's like way more savage, like, so he's like a savage Wolverine. So seeing him fighting another version of Wolverine might be a completely different kind of thing to Old Man Logan fighting a younger kind of clone of himself, like X-24 or whatever that was called.
Right. But why not just do Wolverine versus Deadpool at that point?
Well,
You still
that's all going to happen too.
right, but like no Wolverine versus Wolverine. I'm saying Wolverine versus Deadpool, and then show who's the better weapon. Because in terms of that, like that would be fucking fantastic.
Yeah,
because then you think about it this way, like as far as I remember, Deadpool, it's still Deadpool's name, so like he should fight a big bad, and if it's not going to be Magneto, it should totally be a different Wolverine.
I'd like to see a version of X-23. I really liked the little girl who played her in Logan, and like she's grown now. Like she like I don't know what age she was in that film. Like she looked tiny, but I think she's like 18 or 19 now. So like she's fully grown, and I think I'd love to see her as like an X-23 variant or something like that's grown up. That this version of Logan doesn't even know. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, and exactly from Enviro Earth, like, will we see a Deadpool versus Wolverine fight?
Oh, 100%.
That's what I want.
1000%.
That's what I want. That's it. That's all I want. Like, yeah,
that's a given. 100%, like given. I don't know, bro. I think like I think you need to get ready for like
disappointment.
Well, that obviously always be ready for that, but I think you need to be ready for characters going against them for different variants of themselves. I think that's going to be like prevalent in movies going forward for the next couple of years. Like I think the whole battle world thing is going to be probably different variants of each other. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we got like Dark Avengers and we have like a evil version of Steve going against like the original Steve and all this sort of stuff. Like I think that's going to be quite common for a while.
Right, but then like it gets boring if you think about it, because when you actually go into Battle World for Secret Wars, it's really fun because they pull different variants of characters from like different universes, but none of them are the same. None of them are the same. None of them.
Yeah,
it's all different characters, and you have a villain. You have like it's not even so much a villain side versus a hero side. It's like which side went with Doctor Doom and which side went with Captain America at the same.
Well, imagine, for example, you had, say, like Sam Wilson goes to Battle World, and then he runs into a version of like Hydra Cap, and it's Chris Evans, and he's like, "Oh my god, I've got to fight Chris Evans!" And then like the original Steve, like the one who time traveled or something, the one that has Mjolnir, shows up, and it's like Steve versus Steve. I would personally, I'd be losing my fucking shit. Are you telling me that's going to bore you?
That's gonna bore me 100%. Wow. I'd rather have like
clip it.
Yeah,
I'll need to reference this later.
Yeah, go for it. I would much rather because I was hopeful. Like you were about to excite me for a second when you said Cap shows up, but like yes, I get it. Hydra Cap. Everybody wants Hydra Cap for some reason.
Why not? It'd be cool just to see Evans being evil, and then Sam has to deal with it, and then it's like Sam's gonna get destroyed, and it's like the original Steve to the rescue. Maybe he's Nomad, maybe he's
right,
the original Captain America, maybe he's like the Mjolnir Captain America. I don't know.
I get that. Like you're gonna get some seats for that, but I think what would be even more exciting is if it's Sam Wilson versus Captain America, but it's not really Captain America. In that universe, Red Skull mind swapped. And so Red Skull is within the mind of Captain America. Nice, so he's fighting Red Skull, which is the true, like the arch enemy of Captain America. So having Captain America as Sam Wilson against fucking mind swapped Captain America as Red Skull,
Yeah,
like that to me is even crazier. Because then you got like the world's greatest person like
that'd be
fighting
fun.
like that'd be fucking fun.
That would be fun.
Because then it would be a change of pace. It's like holy shit, in this world, like Cap got fucked in
Yeah,
that sense.
yeah,
It's like stuff like that. Like you can like have fun with it. Like don't just give me the same shit. Have fun with it. Change it up.
yeah,
Give me something crazy. Because there's like this is what I'm saying, Vinto. I know that you want like things to end, like you want it to explode and then end, and then it's like no more multiverse. But that's the beauty of the multiverse is that you can have so many so much crazy shit going on.
yeah.
You like it's fucking fun like that way, you know?
What do you think of this
And
Fantastic
that
Four
oof.
cameo in Wolverine?
I think that's a long shot, but I would love that. I would love for it to be something just out of the blue. Like maybe they just happen to be in the area, but then like they just flat out disappear for a second. Like it's just a really quick situation, or you hear
Yeah.
about them, you know.
So I just had an idea when I first read this. My mind started kind of trying to make up scenarios where this could work, and I thought to myself, and I know you're not going to like how this starts, but maybe you'll think it's cool by the end. But um, let's say, for example, this incursion world that we see is actually 838. So imagine Deadpool comes in, or maybe, yeah, so I don't know. Let's say Deadpool comes in, for example, to this world, and then the remaining survivors of the Fantastic Four are kind of like, we're not dealing with anybody from other timelines or other worlds. Fuck this, we're gonna go after this guy. So they're kind of trying to avenge Reed, who died at the hands of someone from the 616. You know what I mean? So it's like they're seeing someone from another world coming in. They're just like, we got to put a stop to this straight away. So it's like the remaining three of the Fantastic Four from the timeline. So John Krasinski's version of the Fantastic Four come in to try and like kick his ass, and then like maybe Deadpool and Wolverine, the two of them, just fucking slay them or something. Like I think that'd be cool.
Like I would greatly be okay with that if that's a post credits thing. If that's an end credits thing, that's another area that they needed to clear out. And they show up and they're like, "Oh fuck. We got to deal with Deadpool now." And then like that whole situation, but then you have like this quick fight and then that's it. Like that would be fine to me. I don't think it would hit organically. Like I really am so against you, Finto, on 838. Like I fucking hate that universe. Like it's a trash universe. Like as much as Fantastic Four or Reed Richards beautified it and made it livable, it's a trash universe. It's very one-dimensional. And they literally didn't listen to the one guy that they probably could have helped. They're like, "Yeah, we need to contain you, man, because you're about to screw everything up." Cool. They all died. Well, I guess that's it for the 838. There's no other heroes in the area. Like, fuck it. Like, leave that place alone.
Well, you don't know that. Like, it's confirmed there's X-Men, so there's probably a team of X-Men. Like, Charles didn't rock around in the yellow chair by himself. Like, there's definitely mutants. The rest of the Fantastic Four exist.
I've
there's
seen the
obviously
videos.
Avengers.
I've seen the videos, man. He was skateboarding off, showing off his mean moves.
Yeah, absolutely.
I just like I get it. I get it, Vinto. I get it. Like you have this universe in mind. You think that like it all can just span off of this one universe. But like I said, there's a multiverse. There's like the Ultimates universe is Earth 1610. As far as I remember, I'm pretty sure that's the right number. Like there's different numbers, there's different variations. There's some variations that are the exact same thing. Okay, let me kind of give you something to be hopeful about, Vinto, to kind of like make it so that I'm not shitting on your parade.
Oh, I don't care, bro. Honestly, I heard
that's fine.
I heard the rumor, the leak a while ago that it was going to be 838 versus 616, and an incursion takes place, and that's how we end up with one last world, which becomes Battle World, and then by the end of Secret Wars, it's a new universe. That's
right,
but it makes sense. It makes sense. I know you hate it, but it makes sense from where we're going.
It really doesn't, because it's all one dimensional. You only have two universes creating an incursion. That's not going to create like a multiversal war.
There, by the end of it, whatever happens on the lead up to Secret Wars, those two are the last two remaining universes.
So you're saying a lead up. So we're going to get different universes, is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah. We'll get them. We will get them. But I think the end game is 838 versus 616, the final incursion.
But the people are dead, Finto. They're not coming back.
Well,
they're dead. Like, how do you like? You have Earth's mightiest heroes are dead because of Scarlet Witch, and you're telling me that they're gonna have an incursion?
Yeah, because there's obviously still heroes there. They're like, she just went in and fucked up the Illuminati. There's obviously an Avengers team. There's Spider-Man. There could be anybody. Like, there's X-Men. There's fucking.
Where the fuck were they?
I don't know. Off-world, do their own shit on Avengers missions. Who the fuck knows?
No, dude. Like they fucked up that universe, dude. Like they fucked it.
A meeting of the Illuminati that got way out of control when a Scarlet Witch showed up. So it's like, yeah, like, you know what I mean. There's a whole universe out there, like, you know what I
mean. There was no after credits spanning that situation of like, holy shit, we need to fight them, or we need to like fuck it. We're making an incursion. We're gonna set up. We're gonna fucking like. We're going to gear up and be ready. We're going to knuckle up and get going. Like, none of that. And that's what infuriates me. And that's why I don't want to sit in this 838 fucking like situation. There's so many other universes where everybody is already successful. Everybody's like superior, vastly superior than 616 at that point. You know, like, have them be the ones that are like, we just want to take over this planet because we think we're the superior ones. I would love that. But like, but Scarlet Witch just utterly destroying the Illuminati, killing the best and brightest in front of her, means that universe is fucked now. I don't care about it anymore because there was nothing else left in that universe for me to care about, because I didn't care to like elaborate on that. It's moot to me at that point. Like, I want the Ian McKellen universe. I want that Magneto. Like, that would be so fucking cool if that one was like, oh, I'm just going to go after other universes because I know that they exist, because I become omnipotent at that point. Similar to, you know, Ultron. Like, Ultron went to different universes and started killing and taking out people that could possibly take him out, and then found out that there were other universes like he attacked the Watcher. Like it like stuff like that. That's a threat, a huge threat.
Oh, big time.
But like, when they do these incursions, like, we can't go minuscule, Finto. Like, you have to get mean. You have to get big and bright about this. Like have 3 universes go after 616. Fuck it. Have 3 of them. They've created superpower. Like, they're go insane, because that's the point of the multiverse, is that it goes insane.
Yeah, I just don't think any of it's going to matter by the end of it, because the Kang variant that's the Beyonder in Secret Wars is just going to reset everything. He'll be like God Emperor Doom, and he'll just create his own universe after, and we'll be in a new universe. Like, get ready for that, bro, because I really think that's what's going to happen.
And it's so fucking infuriating, because we already have characters such as the Beyonder, the Watchers. Like, we have people that like can sit and be those. Like, we don't need Kang to be every single variant. That's not the solution. It's so sad.
I really think as well, like, I know there's been people talking about this as well, like with the whole Jonathan Majors thing. It's like, why don't they just introduce Doom early and then just do Secret Wars the way it's intended to be told in the comics, and it's Doom that's the main bad and not Kang. Like, they're just changing everything to be variants of Kang.
Right.
And the Kang dynasty, like, you know. So
it's easy. It's so easy. And I'm tired of Disney going, let's do everything easy.
Yeah.
I want them to go hard. I want them to go so hard that everybody's like shocked and they're ready to fucking sit in those theater seats again and be like, holy fuck. Mm-hmm. This was just as good as Infinity War. This ended so well, the same way as Endgame. I need that.
Yeah.
And like as much as we hate the TV shows, like, I'm still hopeful for the movies, because the movies are still, like, in my opinion, are doing well. They're still doing pretty decently. Like, I watched Quantumania again. I liked it the second time. Like, it was just fun. Like, I don't understand how people are so like against it. Like, what was wrong with it? We already had our situations where they had the heist in the first movie. They had the heist in the second movie. There's not really a heist in the third movie. It's just like, it's this very big situation of like, holy shit. Yeah. Janet fucked things up down here. Well, like, we talk about it and we also fix things. Also, Kang is down here. Also, they made a variant of MODOK, which, it's not the best MODOK, but holy shit, we got a MODOK. and they tried, and it's just nothing in that movie really felt like it was terrible. It was there were moments where it just hit kind of weird, but like I get it. It's not everybody's cup of tea.
It went up on Disney Plus there the other day, and I watched it because a friend of mine is in the movie as an extra, and I wanted to watch the scene that he was in because I missed it in the theater. So, because I didn't see him, but he told me he's in the book, where at the start of the movie, Ant-Man's doing the book signing and he's doing the reading in the bookstore.
Yeah.
My friend was in that scene. And the second that I knew that's where he was, I was looking out for him and I saw him straight away. And he's a real tall, fucking hairy bastard. Like, and I just saw him standing in the back, like in the room, like as
he was in the line.
Yeah, no, he's in the room when Paul Rudd's doing the talk. And like as the camera comes through the window when they're going into that scene, I could see him standing there like clear as day. It's so funny. But yeah, it's just hilarious. Like, but honestly, I watched that part of the movie, and then I watched like the dinner scene and stuff like that. And then when they got sucked into the quantum realm, I just turned the movie off, bro. And like, it's so weird because like I would usually never turn a movie. Like if I start a film, like if I start a Marvel movie, like I usually like will stick with it. Like, but I don't know why. I just didn't like that film. Like I just thought it was fucking stupid. Like, and it just didn't work for me at all. Like,
right. But like, can you explain it? Can you elaborate on that? Because like I'm at a point now where I get frustrated. I do the same thing with my girlfriend. I'm like, I need you to tell me why. I need you to explain to me what is the problem? What don't you like about it? Which characters gave you a bad vibe? Which ones gave like shat on your dreams of like hoping that this would be fantastic? And I don't tell me Cassie, because Cassie was fine.
No, she was shit.
No,
she was really bad, and she's not. You're one, like I don't think she's a great actress. The girl who played her, and like I've been watching her for years and Supernatural and stuff like that, and I just have always thought of her as a TV actress. Like I didn't really feel it, and even like when I'm watching the replay of it, like the second the second Cassie mentions the quantum realm, and like Jen, like the mother's like what's the mother's name again? Janet, yeah. The second Janet like goes, wait a minute, you're sending a signal to the quantum realm. And she's like, yeah. It's like, turn it off. And then they all get sucked in straight away. It's like, she's been sending signals down for weeks. Like, at the second that Janet brings it up, they get sucked in. It felt weak, bro. And I was just like, this is.
Dude, they were hiding it from her. They were hiding from Janet. Even you remember Hank was like, yeah, sorry. Like, I just been letting. Like, she was interested. Like, I wanted her to learn from it. It had a reason. It wasn't just like.
I mean, the second that Janet finds out about it, they all get sucked in. It's just stupid timing.
Because she's like, oh, I could just stop this right now by taking it, and I get it. Like, I get that sounds dumb, but like that's how movies start. That's how things work.
It felt weak, man. Writing felt weak. I thought the quantum realm looked beautiful. Like I was watching on my new TV and I was like, holy shit, this looks amazing. Like it looked stunning. Like, but I don't know. Like Kang was the best part of the film. Like I really enjoyed Jonathan Major's performance in the film. I'll try and sit down before we do the next cast. I will try and sit down and watch the whole film and just give you a full proper breakdown. But again, I'm going off my first viewing of it only. Like, and again, I haven't really thought about the movie much since then. So I will give it a proper second rewatch, and then I'll do a revised review of it and see what the story is.
It's just hilarious. So like, well, yes, we'll get to the question, but it's just hilarious that like I don't think that Kang was like the main thing about this movie that was just like blowing it up. I think it was just everything within the quantum realm. They tried to like establish a different, like almost a pocket universe in a sense, because like it's just the minuscule part of Earth 616 that can't be seen by the human eye. Yeah. And it's just it's breathtaking at certain times. Kang, I really like Kang, but like the second time around, I'm like, I think he could have done a little bit more now. Like, I think that there should have been more to him, like more like interest, more reason to be like chaotic in a sense. Like, because once he put the helmet on and everything, he was chaotic. But anyways, let's get to this.
Yeah, Marvel Maniac, welcome back. I think I do remember the name. I think you were in the live streams a while ago, so welcome back. This is like, again, what you're bringing up here about like both Stewart and McKellen being like old. I have the same fear about Harrison Ford. The dude's like 81, 82 at this stage, and he's signed on for 2 Marvel movies, which probably won't be out like I think he's going to be in Thunderbolts, and he's going to be in Captain America 4. Do you know what I mean? Like, he'll be doing red carpet walk for Thunderbolts in what, 3 years time or something. Like, it's a long ways away. And I think, like, again with um Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, like, I fucking pray this doesn't happen, touch wood, but like, yeah, they could be dead by the time these movies come out. You know what I mean? Like, I think I read somewhere during the week that they've decided to split Secret Wars into a part 1 and 2, kind of like what they did with Infinity War and Endgame.
Mhm.
So, they're gonna have Secret Wars Part 1, Secret Wars Part 2, and at best you're gonna have a year between the two of them. So I think that, the rumor is that they've they're talking about pushing Secret Wars back to 2026. So you could have 2026 and 2027. That's a long ways away. Like, that's a long time. So I don't know. I really hope that they're still around when the movies come out, and like, that's without delays. Like, delays could come very easily. Um, I really think what's going to happen in the future of like movie making, it's kind of like what Bruce Willis has done, where he like sells his likeness to the studios, which allows them to kind of deep fake and use AI technology for his voice. So they could potentially, that he sold his likeness, they could be making Die Hard movies for the next 50 years.
Oh yeah.
They could bring a Die Hard movie out once every 2 years, and John McClane would never age. He'd look the same throughout whatever the last one was. He'll just be the same age from from then going on and on. And I think Harrison Ford would probably do the same. Especially for like Indiana Jones and Star Wars, and now Marvel as well. He's kind of deep in with Disney. Like, he's part of 3 big franchises now. I know he had said in an interview that Indiana Jones is done when this next movie comes out, but if he sells his likeness and dies, I don't think there's anything stopping them from doing Indiana Jones movies with a young Harrison Ford till the end of
Right.
time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. It
it's
just,
tough.
yeah, that is tough. And it also worries me because when you think about it, at that point, like, yeah, selling the likeness is like a great idea, but I don't think using the likeness to create additional movies and having like basically an AI or CG generated character that of a person that has already died actually talking and walking around and doing different actions,
Yeah.
that seems very, very costly. That's insanely costly. That probably costs way more than an actual actor, because like you like
Right now, yes, I agree, but in like 10 years, probably not.
so,
I think
right,
it's just constantly getting cheaper and easier to do things. So I think, in 10 years' time, if they wanted to do another X-Men movie and they wanted Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen to be in it and look 50, like, I think they could pretty easily do that with technology in like 10 years' time.
right, but then if you think about it, you get rid of agency. You get rid of this whole situation of like, oh man, I wonder who they're going to recast. Oh man, I wonder if there's someone who can do better. Like
Yeah.
at that point, you're not giving anybody a chance to do better. James
Yeah.
McAvoy, in my opinion, was a fantastic
I loved him.
Professor X. So
I
why not
only I
continue with
only
him?
watched First Class last night. Haven't watched it in years, and fucking loved it. Like, it's
So
great.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. No, I
Like,
agree. Like, I think right now where we are, I agree with you 100%. I think even when we watch like Luke Skywalker in Boba Fett, you can hear the AI like voice, and you can tell it's not Mark Hamill,
mhm.
but it's fun. It's great to see, but at the same time, I know it's not real. Um, Now in 10 years' time, we're probably going to get to a point where you can't tell the difference. Like, even the deep fake stuff that they did in Shazam 2 blew my mind. Like, the shit that Warner Brothers did for the Wonder Woman scene in Shazam 2 was wild to me. Like, I genuinely thought it was Gal Gadot and she wasn't even there. Like, that shit blows my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, it's so hard to tell. Like, I know James Earl Jones sold his voice to Disney so that they can continuously make Darth Vader content for the rest of time. Like, and I think that'll be fine. Fassbender, yeah, he's incredible.
One of the best.
He's another actor who, I think he's German born but lived most of his life in Ireland. So he considers himself Irish. He's another Irish actor. Absolute legend. Love him as
Mhm.
Magneto. I I don't like the Apocalypse movie too much. It has some great scenes in there, but most of the movie's bullshit in my opinion. But that scene where his family dies, like, is that's a scene I
It's
could
one
watch
of the best
over
scenes
and
ever.
over and over. Like, I rewatched it last night again, like, for the fifth time. Like, you know, it's so fucking good. And rewatching First Class, I love the scene where he goes into the bar and he's drinking the German beer and he's like, you know, talking to the guys. He's like, it's kind of like that Hunter. I'm watching that Hunter show on Amazon at the moment where they're like hunting down the Nazis. And I made a joke to my missus. I was like, oh, fucking Magneto is the first Hunter. Like, you know, it's just so funny. Like, but it's fucking brilliant, man. It's brilliant. I love it.
Yeah.
And like, I think, you know, while it's great to see, you know, a young version of Luke Skywalker after Return of the Jedi, like it's a dream of Star Wars fans to see where Luke goes after that movie because, you know, his character is legendary. It's great to see it in CGI. You know, it's not real, but at the same time, you're like, I don't care. I just love to see it. Like, it's fantastic. But if they had gone down the route of like casting Sebastian Stan to play Luke and made him look like Mark Hamill, because he does look like him, that would have probably been better. Like, cinematically, it would have looked better, would have sounded better. But then, you know, there's going to be people that are like, oh, but maybe if the deep fake works or they can do it better now, what that might be a better option. Like, a lot of people had a problem with the Solo movie because they recast Harrison, but the dude who played him did a great job. But then Disney turned around and was like, oh, we think the movie failed because we didn't deep fake Harrison, when now they're deep faking him for Indiana Jones and Star Wars and all this stuff. It's like, I don't think that's the reason why the movie failed. Like, you know, they brought it out like a week after Infinity War or something fucking ridiculous. Like, I think it ran the same week as Infinity War or something stupid. Like, and you're thinking, like, why the hell would Disney? Why would they do that? Like,
right?
You know,
yeah,
like you're setting the movie up to fail no matter what. Like, usually Star Wars movies come out around Christmas time, and I don't think that Infinity War. Maybe if someone could confirm for me in the chat, like what the release date of Infinity War was, but I don't think it was around Christmas. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, why would you bring a Star Wars movie out in summer or whatever when like Star Wars movies usually come out in December? They're usually Christmas movies, like. So I don't know. I think they kind of set that movie up to fail for some reason. I don't know. That's probably a conspiracy theory.
It's possible that they set it up to fail because, you know, you pick a spot and sometimes you have a slot that you think is going to be like decent. Yeah, The Last Jedi didn't help either.
Yes,
it's one of those things where like you really either fucked up the entire script or you just put it in the wrong placement. Like, it's like when you take a horror movie and it's past Halloween and you put it in December.
Why do they do this? Like,
because they missed the time slot. Like, they didn't have any room in the time slots to put it in where they think it would be effective.
I don't get this. And like, I think some horror games do the same thing. Like, I think they released something. Was it the last the anthology, the Dark Pictures anthology series? They released the last game in like September, and it's like, why would you not wait till October? Like, if it's horror related and you can't get a time slot for Halloween, I would nearly push the movie till the next fucking year. Like, how can you not have a slasher movie in October or in like October, like on the lead up to Halloween? Like, that just makes zero sense to me.
Right.
It's crazy, bro. There's a bit of back and forth going on in the chat about Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
And, yeah, like, I just want to say Multiverse of Madness, I'm a massive fan of it. I personally don't understand why people don't like the movie. I thought it was great. It looked great. The storyline was cool. Getting to see variants was great. You know, again, this is the start of the whole like incursion thing. Like, because we get John Krasinski mentioning incursions and stuff. I think it's one of those movies that's probably going to age well over time, because by the time we get to like Kang Dynasty and stuff like that, I think you'll go back and watch Doctor Strange 2 and you'll be like, oh, okay, these are where the seeds are kind of being planted, you know? Yeah, I don't know. I think Multiverse of Madness maybe isn't as important now as it will be in a couple of years' time.
It's possible. But I think that they missed a great opportunity to show off like how intense Fassbender killed it. Yeah, Fassbender did kill it as Magneto.
Yeah, he's incredible.
But like in terms of Multiverse of Madness, I do believe that there are a few missed opportunities. I think we could have explored A3 a little bit more. We could have had at least some references to other heroes or villains that have been in the area, but they've been cleaned out.
Yeah.
The only one that they really cared about with that was Thanos, but there's more to life than Thanos. As we've seen before, we have Kang, we have MODOK, we have
Galactus.
We have Galactus. Like, we could have had, crazy. Yeah, we could have had like, you know, evil versions of characters that have like popped in and they've been killed because like that's why they weren't trusted and that's why they had to form the Illuminati. Like, they could have done a whole bunch of different spiels for it. But overall, I think like I have to agree with the audience. Like, it was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I like that because it was Sam Raimi doing it. You could really feel that Evil Dead vibe to it.
Yeah, I love
Like,
that. Like, I'll always love, like, the scene, it was real, like, it was a proper Evil Dead shot, but, where, Wanda starts locking down the room, and, like, you see the camera shooting towards the door, and, like, it slams shut and stuff. I'm like, that is Evil Dead as fuck, like, and I love that shit, and then when she comes crawling out of the mirror and stuff, it's epic. Love it.
mhm.
Love it.
Yeah. And I agree with Marvel Maniac. Like, definitely, like, Multiverse of Madness could have been a little harder on the multiverse stuff, but it still was a great movie.
Yeah.
I do agree with Andre though. Like, yes, that version of MODOK was ass, but
He was so bad, bro.
I'm still happy that it happened. But I think it was weird that the way that they did it. Like, I enjoyed that they kind of gave the look there, but I think
Yeah.
they missed out on the opportunity of adding more to the look and actually making him look like
His
a menacing character. Like, he was
his
just more
helmet.
so
Do you
like
remember he had the
relaxed.
helmet on? The first time you see
Yeah,
him, he has the helmet on. And that was
right,
badass looking. I thought that was cool. And then they
right.
just like reveal Darren's face for the rest of the film.
And it's like,
And
cool.
it's stupid looking. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's just like
If
I could
it
see the
was
kind of comedy to it. And I suppose the
right.
only time I did laugh at the MODOK was when he died. And he's like, he's putting up his little tiny
Oh
hands.
yeah,
It's
that
like,
was
I'm an
silly.
Avenger now. Like, that was funny.
That
I'll
was
agree.
funny.
That was
Um,
funny. But that was
the
it.
I think the reason why MODOK was crap was because they gave this weird homage to the comics, but also decided to go against it by taking it off. We only like, it's like you said, we only saw it a couple times, and then when it came off and we found out that it was Darren, it was like, who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares about
How
Darren?
and why?
Yeah, like, he was Yellow Jacket. That was fun.
Yeah.
Now he's MODOK. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, it's at that point. But like, if had they given him that more menacing look like we saw in the comics, even though, like, MODOK is supposed to be a dumb, like, but like a very intelligent but dumb looking character.
Yeah.
So like, I was ready for that. I was okay with that. But for the fact that they just superimposed like the dude's face on there, it was very lazy.
Yeah, it just looked terrible. And again,
Yeah.
this is them once again kind of showing that they're really stretching the resources of CGI when it's like, and it's another thing that I didn't like, and I'm presuming I'm going to hate on the rewatch as well, is just how kind of lazy that the movie was with regards to some parts of the film, like when Cassie first like grows giant, and it's like until she says she's giant, you have no idea that she's giant. There's no reference to size at all. Like the two of them are just standing there. It's like she's like, "Dad, I did it. I'm
Right.
giant now." It's
Right.
like, what?
Right. But like, but he was already a large size. I don't know. Like, it just
I don't
seems to me
know.
like it was,
Just felt
you
lazy. It
I
felt
would
lazy and cheap to me. You know
I
what I
would
mean?
say
Put some buildings in the background and then like show her soar above them or something, like, that little town where they all the little Rick and Morty characters were or whatever. Like, have her do it beside that, and you see that as like miniature, and then we know she's giant. You know what I mean? Like, there's ways around it, bro. They just got lazy. They just got lazy. They're
I don't know,
100%
man. I think it
cutting
was
corners.
fine. Rewatch it, dude. Like, I think it'll be fine on the rewatch. I don't think you're gonna love it, but I think you'll appreciate it just a little bit more. I mean,
This might
just,
this might be the hardest question I've ever been asked in
oh
my
my
life.
goodness,
I can't even go there.
really?
Like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't. I can't go there. I just can't. I can't even comment on it. They're both angels.
Honestly, honestly, I would say if you're looking for a fun time, you go with Scarlett Johansson. If you're looking for a commitment, you go with Elizabeth Olsen.
Wow. I'm sure they'd both love that answer. Maybe Scarlett wouldn't, but I don't know.
No, like, as a fun time, like, it could be anything you desire, man. But like, I
Yeah.
think it would just be fun to hang out with them.
Yeah.
Like, I think that they would be fun characters. I think
Amen.
Elizabeth Olsen is someone that you could just like sit in the same room and read a book with. Like, she seems very comfortable.
I saw something with bringing up Scarlett. I saw she was in an interview that I saw a clip of during the week, and someone mentioned that she's like the highest earner in the MCU now, and she was shocked to hear that. And she's like, "Oh, I thought it would have been like Robert Downey Jr. or something." And they were saying that like when everything got totted up in all of her movies, she's made the most money out of all of them.
That's great.
It's crazy.
And yeah, and she's had the most control over her character, like, in terms of viewpoint. Because if you notice, like, in terms of Scarlett and Elizabeth Olsen, they both did the same thing. They went to their producers. They're like, I don't want to wear this costume that shows off my cleavage. I like, you do this, I'm out. And they're
Yeah.
like, shit, well, we need this character, so like, we're fine. And
Yeah.
to be completely honest, it wasn't like it really wasn't necessary to show off any cleavage. Like they did in Iron Man 1, but Elizabeth Olsen was highly against it. Like she was like, I don't
She
do
was
this shit.
she was quite young as well. It was kind of nearly weird. But
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'll tell
Nearly
you
weird.
I'll tell you something that might ruin Scarlett Johansson for you. But
Sure.
the 9 times out of 10 when you're seeing her on screen, she's either CGI'd or it's a body double. So anytime you see her from the back, it's not her. So all the ass
Yeah.
shots, everything you see, it's not her. It's not Scarlett. It's a body double. And then
Okay.
for I think a couple of the Avengers movies, I think she was having kids and stuff. So they actually she was either wearing suits that like sucked everything in or whatever, or she was actually CGI'd. So like while she's amazing looking, I think they like heightened her up to make her like,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
a goddess or whatever. Like, but that's
Of
just
course.
Hollywood, I suppose.
But honestly, like the characters that they play, they did a really good job of making them badass.
Oh,
Like
fucking right. Like,
and
I like,
that's yeah,
yeah,
that's the
100%.
most important part.
Yeah. One of my favorite memes that I saw for years was, you know, the whole kind of girl power scene in Infinity War or Endgame, or whichever one it was.
Mhm.
And I saw someone like made a joke out of it. It was like Scarlett was not in this scene because she's too busy being a main character. Because she was one of the original six. She was an Avenger. Like she, like, like was a step above all that because it's like she's a main character. Like, you know,
Yeah.
that's how important Scarlett is to the MCU.
But it was always funny to me how like an Endgame, like I really felt like like Disney or whoever was trying to like make this whole situation was like, yeah, girl power, just put all the girls in one spot. And it's like, wait, I thought we wanted equality. Like what the fuck is this? Like
I know.
I want all these characters standing next to the men as well to show that like they're equal. They're on equal ground. Scarlet Witch can defeat anybody at that point. Like she
Oh
was
yeah.
very powerful. Like why not have her stand next to the people that are considered the greats at that point? Like there's no need to separate. There's no need to keep it separate because we're all heroes at
Yeah.
that. Like that was the whole point of that scene is we're all heroes, especially when everyone popped out at the same time. So to split them off and then show them all in one shot, like, oh man, these are all the female heroes. I don't know. Maybe you and I like don't understand it that well, but like I see it as such as like, yeah, girl power. And it's like, no, I just see a hero.
Yeah, but like my girlfriend, for example, I asked her about it, like, and she's a big Marvel fan and stuff, and even she finds it cringe. It's just like they don't need to do this stuff. Like we know
Right.
the women are badasses. We don't need them all to stand
Exactly.
beside each other and
Exactly.
tell us that they're badasses. Like, you know, and even like in DC, like, you know, Wonder Woman is an amazing character. Like you don't need her to sit there and say, you know, you're a woman, you can do whatever a man can. Like we don't need that. You know what I mean? It's not relevant. Not
Mhm.
in today's time. I think in the 60s or something, when, you know, women didn't even like, you know, they couldn't
Right.
get
It was
jobs, they couldn't do like that was when it was important. You know,
right.
if you write a
Exactly.
comic book about a Wonder Woman at that time, that's when some stuff like that needed to be said. But today, no.
Yeah. We respect women.
I think it's absolutely irrelevant.
Exactly. Byron Earth asks, what would you call Nick Fury? Is he a vigilante or superhero? He's the lead, like in the sense, like he's their director. He doesn't need powers. He's just there, just telling them what they need to do,
I
giving
suppose
them direction.
I suppose now, like after the disbandment of like Shield and stuff, maybe he is a vigilante. I don't know.
Oh, he's part of
Because
Sword.
is he though?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's divisions. It's not just one spot. You're not one
Well,
and
like
done
he's
with this.
supposed to be dead now, so
Well, when?
didn't he faked his death and the general public think that he's dead? He's been buried, like he has a gravestone and everything. Like it's in Secret
Um,
Invasion, I think we see that in the trailer. Like they go back to his grave.
Right. So when we get there, we'll see what's going on. But as far as we know right now, he's very much alive.
Well, again, I saw a video on potential kind of Secret Invasion kind of story plots and stuff like that, and I think a lot of people are going to be scrolls for a lot longer than we potentially think, like going back years.
Right.
So there's a rumor out there that like Rhodey, for example, has been a scroll since Civil War.
That would be hilarious. That would be
That
fucking hilarious. That would be the best. That would be so silly. Like I
yeah,
like really. Like,
But do
I
you, but
don't
do you, re-
know.
do you remember the whole like breakdowns of like Age of Ultron, for example, and like Fury's cutting the sandwich the wrong way, and like he
Yeah,
makes reference in like the 90s that it's like I can't eat diagonal sandwiches; they have to be horizontal or whatever,
right.
and he
Yeah.
cuts it the wrong way, and it's like, how long has Fury been a Skrull?
He ever since he met what's his
Captain
name? Like
Marvel. He could have been for the whole time, the whole MCU. He might not have been himself. Like that's a possibility. Like we may have
yeah,
never met the real Fury until now, potentially. Like the version that we see in
I
1992 or whatever in Captain Marvel might be the last time that he was on Earth. Like
I would
insane.
think yeah, and I can see that, but I would think that the reason why we would assume that is because there are moments where we do see that it was more likely the scroll playing as Nick Fury. But there are moments where Nick Fury knows about them. But at the same time, he could have been up like doing other things, but also getting intel. Like Earth sends intel to their moon base or whatever base that they've got. And so you have all these situations where, okay, so like we're gonna have to like hopefully they have discussions on how long he's been gone,
Hmm.
um, because this is weird.
Yeah,
But I'm okay with that. Like if it's like an on and off thing, like hey man, let me take care of this. Let me take care of this movie. let me be part of this. Like I
yeah.
get that. But yeah, like in terms of Secret Invasion, he does. I guess I can understand like you seeing it as like he's become sort of a vigilante. Yeah, because he's presumed dead. But
And
like he's still
He's not really working under like a government faction that we know of. Like whether he is running sword, that's to be unseen. Like that's unknown right now.
as far as I can tell, and as far as I'm concerned, Sword is not a government agency. It is their own agency.
Right. Yeah.
So they don't
A
necessarily
private
like
contractor sort of thing.
in a sense,
Mm.
because like they're still the CIA, the FBI, and whatnot. Like those people still kind of arrive. So those are their own division for stuff like that. In terms of Sword and Shield, I I don't know how dug in they were with like the president and whatnot, but I know that they had like some sort of connection with them in some ways. But they're their own company in the sense. They're
Yeah.
their own organization because if they weren't, they'd be shut down so fucking fast. It'd be ridiculous.
Yeah. I just want to reference this, and then I have another topic I want to talk about real quick, and that might be the last topic of the night. But because it's midnight for me, do we think there's a superhero cameo in Secret Invasion? I think yes.
Yes.
I pretty much know that there is for sure. If you were a fan of Agents of Shield, um, the character Quake from that show, Daisy, something I can't think of her surname right now. Um, she played Quake in the show. She's going to be in 2 episodes of Secret Invasion. She's going to appear, I think, for like a minute in episode 3, and then I think she's in the finale. And then I
Mhm.
believe, so they say, is that she's going to join a new team with Nick Fury. So she'll be potentially part of future projects and come into the movies.
Yeah. And to be completely fair, Finto, it's not guaranteed yet that Agents of Shield is canon. The way that they can make it canon is if we see Coulson again.
Yeah, well, like I think 100% the show was canon. Like it's undisputed. The show was canon around seasons 1 and 2. Fact, it linked in directly with Age of Ultron. Like season 2 of the show ended with them finding the scepter, and then they're like, Coulson's like, "Let me make a call." And he rings Fury, and Fury sends in the Avengers, and Age of Ultron starts. And it was literally they released that show, the finale episode of that show, on a Wednesday, and then Ultron, like that movie, came out the next day. So it was interwoven perfectly, and it was an incredible time. For the show wasn't amazing, like never was, but how in sync it was with the movies at that
Mhm.
time, it was wild. It was a great time because I was like, they don't really cross over TV and movies, and but the MCU were doing it. Now the show went off the rails. Like they went into like the whole Agents of Shield team like jumped forward to the future, and they were dealing with like the Kree and stuff in the way into the future. So
Mhm.
they lost their way for sure. But it 100% was canon around seasons 1 and 2. I think in the very second episode, like Nick Fury's in that episode. Like he gives them the Quinjet that they use for the whole show. So like he was part of Shield, and then like they did the whole storyline around Infinity War, or sorry, not Infinity War, Winter Soldier, like when the whole Hydra thing came out, and then like in the show they're referencing it as it's happening in Captain America. They're like, hang on a second, Hydra have taken over Shield, what the hell? And then they go out on their own and they become they're the only Shield that are left, and they have a secret like Shield organization that's running in that show.
Right.
So there's no argument about it. It absolutely was canon, but they lost their way so much that they kind of retconned themselves nearly, like, because they went into the future, just left the timeline.
Right. So the most you could say is that it's partial canon. Like it
used to be canon. Right now, no longer is canon. So I'm very curious if Quake is going to be in the show. Again, the show got so bad that I didn't even finish it. I didn't even watch the end of it. So I don't know where the show ends. And I don't know how Quake gets back to Earth and gets back to current time, because they, as far as I knew, they went to the future. So unless they somehow went back in time again to come back into the MCU, so maybe it recanonized itself towards the end of the show. I might have to watch the last couple of episodes just before Secret Invasion, because if they're bringing characters into it, it makes sense to watch it. Like, I don't even know if Coulson's still alive.
God, I can't remember exactly if he is. I think he might be.
Yeah, because even his story got weird in the show. Like, I think he was given Kree blood to bring him back to life, and he started getting really weird, and his story kind of went all over the place. And then I don't know what would have happened to him in the future if he went and then started like fucking interacting with Kree in the future. I don't know. I gave up on the show, but
I just looked it up. He died at the end.
Oh, fuck's sake! Okay.
Never mind on Coulson.
Yeah. I think it was they waited too long to bring Coulson back. Like, I know Coulson's kind of role was to bring the Avengers together. Like, his death was the kind of driving force that united the Avengers. I thought that maybe with like Agents of Shield going into like season 2, season 3, season 4, I was kind of waiting for that time where he did get reintroduced, or someone found him, or Thor runs into him or something, and it's like, oh my God, you're Phil, you're still alive, or something like that. And like, maybe the rest of the team don't find out, but at least someone knows that he's still alive. But yeah, they never really went there. And now if he's dead, sure, that's the end of it. Like, it's gone. He's gone.
And Via Earth, you've never seen Agents of Shield. That's fine. Neither have I.
Oh yeah, no,
like it's no big deal.
A lot of people haven't. A lot of people haven't. I think it was it originally aired by like ABC or NBC or one of the network. Like, it was network television, and network television rarely hits hard. So I can see why a lot of people would have left it out. Like, because you're talking about a show like that being on around the same time as like Netflix is showing like Daredevil, which is like some of the best superhero TV of all time and will forever be.
The one that's actually canon is Agent Carter. So if you really want to watch
more
things,
that was good. I enjoyed that. Yeah. If you go on to Disney Plus and look at the timeline order, if you go into Disney Plus and then go into Marvel and then scroll down, you'll see the MCU in timeline order. It's a great rewatch if you're going to rewatch it. The timeline order is a lot of fun to do, but they've put in all of the one shots and the shorts and stuff now. So like, you'll see the first movie is Captain America 1, and then Agent Carter. There's like a 15-minute short that they released before they made the show, but they kind of expanded that short into the first episode of the show, and then they ran it for like another, I'm going to say 12 episodes or so, but I don't know. But I loved Agent Carter. I thought it was great.
Oh, your Disney Plus just ran out? Get it back on, man. We'll actually get it when Echo comes out.
So Echo, great little transition, because Echo was the last thing I wanted to talk about tonight. Did you see the news during the week that they announced that the Echo show is coming out in October and they're going to release every episode on day 1?
Yeah, and I'm extremely excited about that, because then we're not going to be yanked on our chains every week on whether I think it'll fit well if this goes like exactly how they plan it, and it actually gets a positive reaction and everybody's happy about this. Then I think from that point on, they might just do that and just do like a chunk of episodes every time, which I think is fantastic.
From what we've heard about the Echo show, Fisk is going to be in it. Rumors that Daredevil is going to appear in it, and he's going to have an all-black suit. Can't wait. The fact that those characters are involved in it, and they all kind of come from the Netflix universe where they would release everything on the same day, I find it kind of curious that they're doing that now again. I feel like maybe they're trying to take a page out of the Netflix book for these characters and maybe make it feel like all these are a continuation on from the Netflix universe. Because now that I hear that they're going to do this for Echo, I think it might actually make the show more of a success. The fact that you can binge through maybe some of the slower episodes,
Exactly.
you know, I think I'm for and against it. I love sitting down every week with you and potentially others and just talking about each episode and just digging deep. Only having say 40 minutes of a show to talk about, you can gonna go really deep on it. Whereas if we have 10 episodes of a show to talk about in an hour and a half, I feel like we're gonna miss a lot. You know what I mean? So I'm to and from, and obviously I love having, like, say there's 8 episodes of this show. I love having 8 episodes of the podcast that I know I don't really have to think too much about what I plan to talk about, because we're going to talk about the new show each week. So
Oh yeah.
Yes, I want to see the show all at once, but I do like the idea of spreading it out as well. I'm very much in the middle. I'm sitting on the fence with this one.
I think there's going to be a lot of things that we'll be talking about when Echo does come out. I think there's going to be a lot of things that we'll miss. So, think of it as a way for us to spread it out in terms of like us forgetting things, and then we just kind of reference it as we go along. That's one thing I really love of about like us rewatching things, like when we watch Ant-Man and like watch Quantumania and check out Multiverse of Madness. Like there's all these things that we forget. There's all these things that like pop up. So like it's a huge, it really is a huge universe slash multiverse. Like there's so much that we can miss.
100%.
So don't hold it over that like just because we're not watching week for week that we can't like take it and just like own it.
Oh, 100%. Like, and I'm looking forward to having something to binge, because we haven't experienced Disney Plus shows in a binge yet. And I'm very curious to see, because I went back and I got COVID last December, and I went back and rewatched all of the Disney Plus shows in like 3 days. And like some of them hit really well. Like I really enjoyed Hawkeye on the rewatch when I watched it in 2 sittings. Like, the whole show was done, and I thought it flowed a lot better. Same with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I did not like that show week by week at all, but I found that if you watched like 5 episodes in a row, it flowed a
It
lot
flows
better.
really
So
good.
yeah. So yeah, like it's just I think for this show, they obviously have a plan in place or whatever, and I think that it's gonna work for them really well. Hopefully. Again,
Yeah.
I think
I
it's because you're dealing with Daredevil actors and characters and stuff, and we're used to binging these guys' content. I think that's maybe why they're trying to do it.
Yeah, but honestly, I'm a fan of Alakwa Cox. I think she did a pretty good job as Echo. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what's going to happen. And
Mhm.
more than likely, I'm probably not going to be able to binge it. I'll probably take a few days out, like
Yeah. I
take a
won't binge
day.
it. I won't binge it either, man. Like those binging days for me are over. I don't have that much free time anymore to sit down. Like I remember when I first started going out with my girlfriend, like, was around the time that I think season 2 of Daredevil came out, and
Yeah.
we had both like said how much we loved the first season, and it came out on a Friday, and I think we both had the day off, and we watched like, I'd say 90% of it in one sitting, like.
Nice.
And I used to be able to do shit like that all the time, but I just don't have the time for it now. So even like with this
Right.
Echo show, I'm not going to say it'll be a struggle, but I'll definitely do it in the week leading up to the podcast. Although if it gets released on a Friday and we talk on a Sunday, I may not have it done in time. So we'll have to
Yeah,
see.
like
Like,
we just take it in chunks. Like we could just be
yeah,
like,
like
we
if
watch
we
this
do
amount of episodes.
exactly, yeah, like we might have to do a podcast on episodes 1 to 4 and then do like the rest of it the next week or something like that,
Yeah,
which is
for
kind of
sure.
cool. Like it might be a cool way to actually run it, But yeah, like look, that's it. Like, yeah, guys, I gotta end it here. It's after midnight for me, so I appreciate everybody hanging out with us. If you're listening to this on a replay, leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think of all the leaks and stuff like that. Like, are you looking forward to Deadpool 3? Does it sound like it's going to be a good movie or not? I'm going to leave a post in the chat as well, which is a link to my Discord. If anyone uses Discord and they're not a member of the Discord, we actually have a marvelous chat section in there. So we kind of talk all week long and throw in all the scoops and leaks and all that sort of stuff. So there's some cool sections in there. And you can keep in touch with us when we're live elsewhere as well. There's a shout out section, all that sort of stuff. So
Right. And
Yeah.
people are very vocal, like people are very talkative in the chats as well. Like I'll
Oh,
pop
big
in
time.
and people have been just like talking about like, Multiverse of Madness, or they've been talking
It's
about like some of the X-Men, that like it just could be anything. So by all means put your 2 cents in there.
yeah, there's only like, I think there's like 160 people in that Discord, but to be honest, there's people talking in it probably right now. There's people posting stuff in it right now. So it's constantly going all day long. So it's a great little community. So
It's really nice.
yeah. So yeah, look, if you're new here, guys, hit the subscribe button, smash a like on the video, all that sort of stuff. It really helps us grow. We're a small channel, so trying to get out there into the algorithm of YouTube has been one of the toughest things I've ever had to try and do. So yeah, look, we'll be back here next week, and we'll see you then. So have a good week, guys. Bye
Take care,
bye.
everyone.